of any issues that we find.
You're supposed to be a
Right.
supervisor.
Right.
Okay,
Exactly.
so this wall, this water damage wall,
it's fine.
this water damage, this.
Yeah, we don't have an issue. Okay.
So, sir, this rippling right here in this corner right here, you're telling me,
no, it doesn't
you're
have to
telling,
be perfect.
hold
There's
on,
no problem.
let me finish my question I'm about to ask
It's
you.
water
You
damage.
telling me that these ripples in the wall, you
Yeah, it
seen
doesn't
any
have to be-
development?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay,
Yeah.
so what about, okay, so in this room,
Okay. Right.
in this
Right.
room here, same
They
thing.
had to rework the wall. They literally had to do work on the wall. You telling me that there's still, if they had to do work on the wall, you're telling me that there's nothing wrong with the wall?
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
Okay.
So in the
Okay.
corner, in the corners,
Okay. All right. So if we show him this hatch up here, he gonna say there's nothing wrong with the hatch either,
so
right?
you don't see any bubbling in the corner.
It's okay. It's a nice apartment.
You know what? We could wrap this up. He's not even trying to. He's not trying to inspect.
All right.
He's not trying to inspect. He's just. We could wrap this up. For real. We could wrap this up.
No, okay, so in my bedroom,
Okay.
This guy is coming here. He's not even looking. Like literally, we're trying to show him the problem. We first tried to show him behind the fridge, right over here. We're trying to tell him that there's a literal wall behind this wall that has mold. He don't care. He only talking about if I can see it, that's the only thing that I'm going to work on. If I can only see it. For one, he already took a picture of the wrong part of the wall in the first place. He's taking a picture of these back part of the walls. We trying to tell him that it's this corner of the wall, and he's taking a picture of the back walls. He's not even. He's supposed to be a supervisor, and instead of I'm recording.
okay.
He's supposed to be a supervisor, but he's not doing the work that a supervisor is supposed to do. You're supposed to be going above and beyond,
You're
but
not
instead
getting my signature.
you're going
Okay,
mediocre
no
and
problem.
You're
below.
not, you're, okay, so what's going on with here?
We're not doing
Crack in
this.
the wall
Yeah,
here.
there's no crack there.
There's no crack
There's-
there.
There's no crack there.
You don't see a crack here.
He says there's no crack there. It's visibly a crack right here. The crack is right here, and he says there's no crack here.
No crack there.
This is a supervisor for you guys,
And there's
and he
no-
has glasses on, and for some reason he can't see. It's crazy. I'm gonna be rude because he's about to piss me off. He's being rude to us because he's not trying to help.
Rude to anybody.
You are. You are. You are. You can go. You can go. You can go.
So in this bed,
Cause now he's about to piss me off. You're talking about this no crack there and it's visibly right there. You're bullshitting and it's pissing me off. Like it's visibly right there. You're not trying. Like what the hell? You come here to waste time?
so everything that you looked at, you're the supervisor.
Yeah.
You're over all of these HQS inspectors,
Right.
and you're gonna say to me that this water damage wall is fine, and you're gonna say to me that egress up there is fine.
Yeah, no, they painted it. You know, they painted over. You know, it doesn't have to be a perfect.
No, I'm talking about the
no,
hatch.
No.
Okay, I'm talking about that hatch up there. There's a hatch. Okay.
I don't know where it goes. There could be electric.
They took a. No, I have a. Where's my phone? Give me my phone. Okay.
I'm not trying to give you guys a hard time.
You actually are.
You are.
You actually
Because
are.
you're not even trying.
No,
You're
I'm
doing
trying.
the bare
I'm-
minimum.
No, I'm
You
not.
just said
No,
there's
no.
no crack and
You
it's
saying
literally
that-
right
okay,
there.
there's no-
You took a picture of the wrong part of the wall. You didn't even take a picture of the right part of the wall.
okay, but-
you're not trying. And
What
you're
I'm- what I'm
pissing me
trying-
off.
what I'm trying
like
to say
seriously,
is-
you could go.
Hold on. Could you stop?
Like
What I'm
fuck?
what I'm trying to say to you. What is your name again, sir?
Maurice. My name is Maurice.
Okay,
Please
Maurice.
take that down because
This is
I
what
ain't
it-
gonna lie.
the
You-
problem
you
that I'm
don't
having-
No supervisor with the way
The
you do it.
can you let me talk? The problem that I'm having with this is you're saying one thing,
Right.
but the Supreme Court judge
Okay.
sees something else.
Okay.
He
You know,
sees
then they
some-
could
so
order the
then
landlord to do
now for
something.
you to be the
Right.
for you
No,
to be
no,
the
no, no.
supervisor
Yeah, no,
of
no, no.
the housing,
They can-
the
they-
HQS inspectors,
Right,
and for
right.
you to come out here and say to me that that wall, these bubble wall, water damage walls is fine. That is an insult to me because
No,
you're
I'm
telling
not
me that I
insulting
need to live like
anybody.
a pig.
No,
No,
no, no, no.
you are
Basically are.
insulting me.
No, 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 no.
You're insulting
You're
me because
disrespecting
what
us by
what
not
I'm
even
saying-
trying
when-
to inspect our problems.
We're
We're
gonna
not
let,
here.
no. We're gonna let the office
Then-
know, and they'll decide.
And they'll decide?
Yeah,
So
they'll-
let me
No,
ask you a question.
you
What was your
just
reasoning on
told
the
I'm
me.
just here
house?
to look. I'm just here to look.
You
okay?
just told me that there's nothing wrong with this water damage wall. So if you're telling me, if you above this fixture,
Yeah.
okay, above this fixture, if I remove that fixture, you're gonna see that they didn't even paint over there. They left it open.
Okay.
It's this open. Addition to that, they sealed the AC sleeve where there's a crack over there.
Well, let me have a look at it. The crack. Let me take a look. Where's the?
And you about to say there's no crack in the AC watch.
No, come on. You know, just.
Jacob,
I'm just
I
trying to
need you-
I'm just trying to. I'm going to make a note of anything that I see.
There's a crack right there.
Where is that?
Right
Look,
there.
see? Look. Like, no. He's not
Jacob,
trying to look.
bring me my light. Bring me my light.
You're trying to look at like microscopic. There's no crack there.
But you just touched the
There's nothing
crack.
right there.
You just
It's not
touched the
a
crack. It is a crack because that's where the
Let me
AC
take a
sleeps.
picture of it and we'll let the.
That
we'll
is
let them
where-
decide. We'll let them decide.
Bring me my light. That is where the Bring me my light, Jay.
Yeah, like, yo, you about to piss me off for real, for real. He just came in just
I'm not trying to give you a hard time.
No,
You
because
really
Make
are.
a note, like I
Sir,
inspect
can you please
all
move out of my
of
way?
the.
no, Mr. Zarita, and Mr. Tesserero told you to pass it.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did.
They didn't
They
tell
did.
me what to do. Nobody tells me what to do.
Yes, they did. That's a crack.
Yeah.
That's a crack. Why? Because they literally blocked the AC sleeve that was here. They blocked it. This was the AC sleeve. So they blocked it. That's why the AC has to go into the window. Okay, so they blocked it. Addition to that, your inspectors came here.
Okay.
They looked at all of this. They looked at the walls over here. They looked at all the painting of the walls. They looked at everything. And they said, this is not good.
Okay.
This is not good.
Well, let them make a choice in the office. Okay.
Okay, you want to pass this apartment. You want to come off as the
I'm
you
not
want to
telling you my
say
decision. We're
that
not
you're,
making a decision.
you're basically
I'm not making
you're
a
here to
decision.
say
I'll let them
my
make the
inspectors
decision
that
in the
came
office.
out was wrong and they should have passed it and so forth and so on so that the PAC people can get their subsidy. That's what this is about.
No,
this
it's
is,
not about anything
It
like
is
that. No, it's
because you
not.
cannot
I
tell
have
me
nothing to do with
your
that.
own inspector, Fairstead's inspector said that's water damage. They said that.
Okay.
So if you're going to
Well,
say
let them make the office.
If you're gonna say-
they can make the decision.
we already
in the
made,
office.
we went to court.
It's
Okay.
literally
We went to court,
in
and the
court
judge seen this.
papers.
Okay,
Like,
then if they have to do,
judge-
then if the judge asks them to do any repairs, then the landlord has to make the repairs.
The judge said to take care of behind there, which is behind that wall, and to take care of these hinges.
Okay.
What they did was they botched the work, and the judge saw it. And the judge said unacceptable. So then we said, okay, send your inspectors back in. So they came in July the 8th. They looked, they said, that's a fail. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give you guys another shot. Come back August the 7th. August the 27th, 2029. Of 2025. Come on back in here. I'm going to get off the court's calendar. I'm going to give you guys another shot. They came in. They looked around again. They tried to do whatever patchwork.
Okay. Well,
So I'm like, okay.
by
So then your inspectors came back August the 29th and re-inspect. They said, this is a fail. This is a fail. I see the water damage. I see the chipping walls. I see it. I see the water damage over there. I see it. Fail. So I said, okay, I give you guys a second shot, Fairstead. I give you guys a second shot. So now you're here as a supervisor because you want to say, oh, my guys came in and they should have passed, that apartment. There's nothing wrong with that apartment when there actually is something wrong with this apartment.
Okay, I'll let them make the decision in the office. Okay, I'll
You-
let them make the decision.
You're going to make them. You pass this apartment, and I have you on record.
Okay.
You pass this apartment, you're going to get a subpoena.
Okay.
You're going to get a subpoena, and you're going to have to answer to these walls.
Okay. All right. Thank you for
You're
your
gonna
time.
have to
I
take care.
appreciate it, okay.
Take care.
Have a good day.
Okay.
Take care.
All right.
Fucking waste of time.
Can you believe this?
Waste of fucking time.
Unbelievable.
Waste of fucking time. This is why I don't be. This is why like all that getting ready to do this.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to make this video, and I am struggling making this video, and I just gotta do it. Just gotta do it. Hey everyone, this is Miss Collins in Self Like It Is 48 with a T. Forgive me for my hair. I'm about to wash my hair, and it's pretty late. So I'm making this video to follow up on what's going on with that other video I just made that I posted with that corrupt housing quality standards inspector supervisor, who the Section 8 lease housing director snuck in this apartment, because I received a call telling me, "Oh, Miss Collins, we're going to send a housing quality inspector to your apartment, and this is going to be a supervisor." Housing quality standard inspector? Yes, this is a quality assurance inspector. And he's a supervisor. It's like, okay. So what is the purpose of that supervisor? Well, it's to go over everything that the other housing quality standard inspectors looked at. So are you telling me that quality assurance don't trust those housing quality standard inspectors that came out to this apartment and failed 3 times? They don't trust them, so who trained them? Those housing quality inspectors, housing quality standard inspectors that came out to inspect this apartment on February 18th, July 8th, and August 29th, they were trained, weren't they? So, are you questioning how they were trained? Because if 3 individuals came out to this apartment and noticed defects, and they all said the same thing, and these are not, they're not associated with each other. They didn't come out together. They came out separate months, separate dates, and they looked around. They looked around. They walked around the same way this fucking clown did. And as you can see by his body language, by his tone, that's what struck a chord with Jacob. Now, for you to be watching this channel, if I am chatting too much, then please excuse yourself from my channel, from this video, because I'm going to rant. Okay, I'm going to go in. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your cookies, grab your chips, whatever the hell, because I'm mad as fuck. Why? Because has any of you ever heard Jacob? Out of all the videos that I've ever made, have anyone, long-standing or new subscriber, have you ever heard my son Jacob? Have you ever even seen him like that? So these people, Fairstead, you pack fucking renovation people, you brought out the worst in my son. Not even Nycha did something like that. Not even Nycha. You have caused so much excuse me. You've caused so much distress in these residents of this community. That is unbelievable. You're supposed to be better than Nycha? Okay. I'm making this video because that inspector, whoever the fuck he is, he came out on October 16th, 2025, which was like, what, 2 days ago from today? All right. I'm going to show you something. If he came out October 16th of 2025, he walked around his department. He looked at everything that I'm about to show you, and yet he still passed
the inspection. He still passed it. He's like, oh, this apartment is fine. There's nothing wrong. I don't see anything wrong. Then something is wrong. Okay? Hang on. We're going to start with this document here. Okay? So this is dated February 18th, 2025. This was the first HQS inspection that was ever done in this apartment. So, Ms. Collins, you transferred from one apartment to another apartment in the same development? Yes. Under a reasonable accommodation grievance hearing that took place in 2017. That's how patient I was. That's how patient. All of the stuff that I was going through, apartment from apartment, is because there was legal action that I took against this development before they converted to these. Okay? And when the Nycha converted to this, it went from bad to worse because they wasn't as hostile as these. These people here was not as hostile as these. In certain instances, these people was more caring than these. More, because they gave me a hard time, but this was supposed to be our savior from this. This was supposed to rescue us from this. But this, forget it. Anyway, this is the first HQS inspection that was done for this apartment. This is how much failures. This is how much failures this apartment had. You see all of that? So, this HQS inspection was supposed to have been done before we signed the lease for this apartment. Before we even knew about this apartment, HQS supposed to have been done. All right? So HQS was done per my request. I requested this. Okay? I asked for this. And they came on this day. And they failed. So I said, okay, what are we going to do? They said, we got to come into your apartment and do repairs. And that is the video that you saw with the creepy property manager, whatever. There was a whole team of people coming into my apartment. I mean, for the whole day. I even gave them an extra day, which was March the 5th. They came in March the 4th. I gave them March the 5th. They came in. Gave them extra day. Fucking herd of people came in my apartment. I said, okay, that's fucking crazy. So, there were 2 more repairs that were needed to be done. And that was the bathroom door hinges and the behind the fridge. So they said we need to come in and caulk. They wanted to caulk behind the fridge and they wanted to paint over defective door hinges. I said, you're not caulking over anything. You're not going to caulk anything and you're not going to paint over anything. So I said, you want to come into my apartment, that's fine. I don't have a problem with you coming into my apartment, but you need to explain to me how you're going to do these repairs. Nevertheless, that wasn't enough for these fucking people here. Okay? They didn't want to sit down and have a conversation with me and say, Ms. Collins, this is what we're going to do, in regards to that apartment. Your apartment, we dropped the ball. We're sorry. We apologize. But, we're going to make it right, okay? We're going to move you out of that apartment. And we're going to put you in another apartment. We're going to cover up your things and put some of your stuff in the storage. And then we're going to fix that issue. No, that's not what they did. You know what they did? They did this. Him. This one here is the ringleader. This one here is a problematic individual. And, yeah, him. So, they did that. And I'm thinking, what compels you to do that? And here, This is not even housing court. Housing court is in, that's when they bring you for repairs. Housing court. But this person here wasn't interested in repairs. This person here was interested in money. It was more so like, we didn't get our subsidy. So because of the fact that you won't let us come in and do what we want to do, we're not getting our subsidy. And I said, I'm not stopping you from coming in here, but I'm stopping you from doing what you want to do. So we went to court, right? They took me to court. We went there. Okay, fine. So we explained, I sat there and I gave them my argument. I told them, you're not coming in my apartment. You're not telling me how you're going to handle my property. You're not telling me what's going to happen, so forth and so on. So the judge asked me, Ms. Collins, what do you want done? I said, I want a boroscope. I want them to do a boroscope to my apartment. He said, what is a boroscope? I said, when you drill a little hole the size of a straw, and you put a camera behind the wall to see what's behind that wall. He said, fine. The judge ordered a boroscope. And the judge said, what else do you want, Ms. Collins? I said, I want them to remove the defective door hinges. Remove it and replace it. Don't paint over it. So the judge said, fine. Move and replace door hinges. Boroscope. Period. So their judge, they petitioned against me. And the judge said, Ms. Collins, what do you want, Ms. Collins? What do you want? And the judge honored. Okay. So I said, when do you guys want to gain access to my apartment to do this? They said on the 18th, June 18th. I said, okay, fine. Come in on June 18th. I made a video of them in my apartment. Okay. Welding and soldering off the door hinges where sparks was flying like the 4th of July. All right. So the inspector came back. Came back to inspect this. HQS inspectors came back because they wanted to inspect this. They wanted to do an inspection on that. Right? They came back July 8th to do an inspection on that, which is a re-inspect. They failed. They not only failed everything here, for the most part, but they failed. They failed the condition behind the walls, the security door, bathroom door hinges. They failed the wall condition. Apartment needs painting. They failed the ceiling. They even stated there's a hatch. Okay, but I'm going to show you where that. They said the hallway walls is bubbling, chipping and painting. Okay, we're going to take you back to that. All right. So, this is July 8th. This is the HQS inspection. They failed. They failed a court order inspection. These people, they failed it. So I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. Come back into my apartment. I called them and I said, come back to my apartment, please. Come on the 27th or the 28th. Either the 27th or the 29th to do this repair. So they said, okay, Ms. Collins, we're going to come in on the 27th. We're going to send our guys in on the 27th and to do the repairs. We appreciate your hospitality. We appreciate that, Ms. Collins. Thank you so much for allowing us, another opportunity to fix this. I said, yes, come on in, guys. So they came in. They did whatever again. They botched whatever again. So as a result of that, excuse me, on this day, HQS inspectors came back out. And they failed. Not only did they fail a portion of this from February 18 and a portion of this from July 8th, but they even said there's a fire hatch. Okay, fire exit, fire escape blocked by landlord. 24-hour violation. That right there. That right there is what I'm about to show you. Okay? That right there. So, let me show you. Now, please excuse my apartment because what is wrong with my throat? I'm packing. I'm packing my things. I haven't even unpacked the stuff that I had packed from February 11th when we first moved in here. It's still wrapped up. Everything is still wrapped up. My chairs are still wrapped up in plastic. Bubble wrap is still here. But let me show you. Today is the 18th, right? That inspector came out. Another inspector. Housing, quality, or quality assurance, whoever the hell he is, fucking creep that my son, me and my son was going at, like, after him. Like, what are you talking about? Let me show you what he passed. What's going on in my throat? So this is the closet. That's the entry. And this is the living room closet, right? Where that hatch is. Okay, today is the 18th. All right. So the hatch I'm talking about is this hatch right there. This hatch. HQS inspectors came out and they said, what is up there? I said, that's an attic. That's an attic. If you look at my other videos, you will see what that is. That is an attic. That is what I'm going to show you. I'm going to put a clip of what's up there. The residents over here on that side took a snapshot of it when they were staying in this apartment for one day because their apartment was getting renovated. So they stayed in this apartment for one day. And that thing was wide open and it creeped them out. And it took a snapshot of it. I said, can I have a copy? Can you send me that? They said, sure. So in addition to this inspector that came out on the 16th, he looked at that. He just peeked in. He just went like this. And that was it. He didn't come in like the other housing quality standard inspectors came in. And they looked around. And they said, that's a violation. They looked at the ceiling. They said, that's all violations. They said, that's a violation. That's a violation. That's not good. Okay. Then they looked at the hinges. They looked at the door hinges of this closet. Okay. And they said, that's not good either. I don't know what's wrong with my throat, guys. They looked at the door hinges. They said, these door hinges are defective. So I said, even though the door can open and close, it's still defective. They said, yes, it's still defective. Right? So they looked at that. They said that has to be repaired. I said, all right. They have to be repaired. Good grief. They said they have to be repaired, repainted, or whatever the case may be. They said, no, that we can't pass that. So then, I don't know what's wrong with my throat. So then, as they walked this way, going towards the bedroom, they stopped right about here, right? And they looked at this wall. Okay, that's Jacob's bedroom. This is my bedroom. And they looked at this wall. And they said, what's going on with this wall? I said, I have no idea. I said, that looks like water damage. They said, yes, it does. So then they looked over here at this wall. And they said, this looks like water damage also. This is what the housing quality standards that came before that guy. That's in the beginning of my video. So on the 16th, this supervisor came out and said, nothing is wrong with this wall. You could hear him say that in the videos. He said, nothing is wrong with this wall. And then when my son showed him this, he said, nothing is wrong with that. That's fine. He said, there's nothing wrong with that. Right? So he's like, oh yeah, nothing's wrong with that. No, nothing's wrong. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So I was like, this is fine. Yeah, this is fine. I said, and what about this? Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So I said, hold on a second. I said, what about up here? Oh, that's fine. Nothing is wrong with that. So my son mentioned the crack in the wall, right? He mentioned the crack in the wall, which is this crack, right? He's like, oh, I don't see a crack. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. So this person, who happens to be a supervisor, came here willfully and intentionally to fraudulently pass this apartment in terms of inspection because New York City Housing Authority, lease housing, dropped the ball on Fierstead. And I'm going to explain why. Okay. So, this is the bathroom. You hear that? All right. This is supposed to be a renovated apartment, right? Fully renovated. So this is the bathroom. Jacob is a pain in the neck. This is the bathroom, and this is the door that these guys was working on through my other videos, where you saw the welding and soldering and sparks flying all over the place like the 4th of July. So the other three inspectors came and they looked at this. They looked at that, right? They said, no good. Then they looked all the way down here. Now, this is supposed to be a court-ordered repair. A court-ordered repair. So they came all the way down here, and they looked. Okay, you see that big opening right there? They looked. They came down, and they looked at that. They looked at this. So all in here, I don't know if it's in here, it's holes, all of that, they saw that. Okay, now the guy that just came here on the 16th of October, 2025, and he's supposed to be a supervisor, he's like, oh, nothing is wrong with this, that's fine, nothing is wrong with that. I said, nothing is wrong with this? He said, no, nothing is wrong with it. He said, nothing is wrong with this either. Okay? That's what he said. He said, this is fine. Okay? I said, we're going to see about that. We're going to see about that. Right? Jacob's door. Well, his door is locked. I can't open it. But his hinges, horrible. Above his door, you can see a crack there. You can also see a crack there. That's above his door. Look at above his door, right above his door. This inspector, this supervisor, okay, who's supposed to be senior to these other three that came. And this man is going to, oh, it passed. Okay, now, you see this? That's my bedroom door. See my hinges? Okay. See the paint? Right? You see that? You see the paint? You see the hinges? Okay. So, this is not about quality. This is about quantity. This is about them getting their subsidy. So I said, all right, in my apartment here, if I can get some light. All right. I looked at this. Okay, in my bedroom, rather. I'm sorry, in my bedroom. This is what I saw in my bedroom. That's the wall. And behind the door. This is behind the door. This is what it looks like in my bedroom. You see that? The walls is chipping walls, chipping paint. Yes. And this man gonna have the audacity to say, oh, that it passed. This is the hinges behind my door. Okay? Which makes no sense. So, I said, but what about the crack in the, under my window over here? Under the living room? Oh, I don't see a crack. I don't see a crack. So he said that it's superficial, right? It's superficial. So let's just see what's superficial. This is a superficial crack. This is the living room, right? And he's saying that that's not a crack, it's superficial. That there and over here. There. Okay. So I said, Are you freaking serious right now? Are you serious right now? So he says to me, what else is going on in your, in your apartment? I can't get inside Jacob's room to show you in the corner where his bedroom, in his bedroom. So I showed him this. Okay, on my walls. Oh, there's nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. I said, nothing is wrong with that. He said, no, nothing is wrong with it. Okay. And I showed him. Here. You can't really see it good because I don't have on the flash. I don't have on the flash on this. But you can see somewhat there's a crack here too. See? Okay. He passed this apartment. The inspection passed on this apartment. Tell me how. It would have been better for him to say, this apartment did not pass inspection. But now, as a supervisor, I see where repairs need to be done. Ms. Collins, we might have to take you out of here and get to the root cause of the situation. What's causing, water damages and so forth. We need to get to the cause of what's going on here. We apologize, and we just need to get to this. This is the bathroom. We need to get to this. But that's not what he did. My videos are time stamped. So I'm like, what do you... So, hold on one second. Okay. I want you to see this a little better. Okay? I want you to see this a little better. See that? Do you see that, right? Now you see it, right? This right here, this is like a lump in the wall. I don't know if you can see that lump in the wall. It's like a lump in the wall. You saying that yes, that inspector that came out who Jacob was barking at, he looked at all of this and said there's nothing wrong with it. He said there's nothing wrong with any of this. He said there's nothing wrong with any of this. Now, for me to show you the kitchen, I would have to pull out the fridge, and I'm not pulling out the fridge. He came over here and said he doesn't see any crack. Right? He doesn't see any crack. He doesn't see any crack. Right? You see that crack right there? You see that crack over there, right? You see that? I'm going to come over here, and you see that? All right. So, where my son pointed to is where, in regards to this, they worked on it 1, 2, 3 times in this, and it keeps coming right back. Cut this light off. That right there. You see that? That right there. And it keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. Okay? Now, the kicker to this is this. Okay? That supervisor needs to be fired. He needs to be fired. Why? Because he's a fraud. Okay, so this is my bedroom. This is Jacob's bedroom. This is the fixture. Right above. And take a look at this. Okay, this is the fixture on the wall. All right? We're going to go up. And take a look at this. Look at that. They didn't even paint this. They didn't even paint this. They just threw the fixture on top of it and left it just like that. Nice. Look at all this up here. Look at all of this. They threw this apartment together. This is above. This is right above the door frame. This is above the door frame. This is above Jacob's door frame. This is above his door frame. It's on the inside of his inside of his bedroom, and on the outside. They threw this shit together. My baby's door frame. Bugs and everything be coming through here. Bugs. All type of shit coming through here. And this is the bathroom. This is the bathroom. Same thing. Same thing. Look at that. And this is supposed to have been fully renovated? This is supposed to be fully renovated. Really? Look at this. Okay? This is the 18th of October. This supervisor inspector came out here on the 16th and said there's nothing wrong with this apartment. He said it's fine. That's what he said. He said it's fine. You see that? It's right above my closet. This is my closet. Right? That's my closet. Okay. He said nothing is wrong. Look at that. I had to put rat poison and stuff there. He said nothing is wrong in here. Right? this apartment pass inspection? How? How did this apartment pass inspection? It would have been better for them to say, Ms. Collins, we're gonna transfer you out. We're gonna transfer you out because yeah, this is not gonna work. That's not what they did. That's not what they did. I'm not finished showing you guys. I'm not finished showing you nothing. I ain't finished. You see that crack right there? You see that, right? You see that right there? Okay. Look at that. Look at that. If I can get into Jacob's room and show you. This is right over my lounger. You see that? Okay. And over here, right over the TV. I don't know if you see it. You see that, right? You can faintly see. All right, there it is. Right over the TV. Over here. You see that, right? How in the hell you gonna tell me that this apartment? So that was pretty long, right? So in conclusion of what I just showed you, right? Today is the 18th of October, 2025. Today's my father's birthday. My father's heavenly birthday. Oh my God. In conclusion of what I just showed you, let me just wrap this up because now I'm even more angry. I'm going to show you something else. Hang on. All right, so see these papers that I sent you? I showed you, rather. This piece of shit guy came to my apartment on the 16th and he passed this apartment. He passed the inspection on this apartment Despite all that I showed you, he passed. Why? Because lease housing director, Nycha's lease housing director, someone told that man to come into this apartment and pass this apartment. Told him to pass it. Why? Because these people was not getting subsidy for this apartment since April. Since this apartment failed, every time these apartments failed, these HQS inspections, these people hold back the subsidy from them. They hold back subsidy, and that's like $200,000 per apartment, if I stand to be corrected. The subsidy is huge per apartment. So if these apartments do not pass the HQS inspection, this department right here withholds subsidy from these people. Fairstead, Wavecrest, PRC, blah, 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 whoever. The apartments has to pass inspection. Now, the reason why this guy who came in on the 16th and was told, when you come in there, pass that apartment, pass Miss Collins' apartment. You know why? Because these guys probably started thinking, why weren't we, or why didn't they instruct or send an HQS inspector to this apartment after Miss Collins signed the lease? Or before Miss Collins signed the lease? Or before Miss Collins moved into this apartment? Why didn't these guys send these inspectors out to this apartment while Miss Collins was still living at the other apartment? Because they didn't do that. Because if they did that, there would be a report just like this, dated 2024, or dated February 1st. February 1st, not February 18th, because I didn't move into this apartment until February 11th, which means they had the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11, 12, well, not 11, 12, but they had from the 1st, these people had from the 1st of this month to have an HQS inspector come out to this apartment and do the inspection before Jacob and I moved in here. So, I'm going to assume that these guys said, wait a minute. It's not even her fault. It's their fault. And she's not even holding back rent. Because my rent is overpaid by $324 to date. So their issue is not getting money from me. Their issue is not getting money from them. And these people are the corrupt ones. This right here. They're the corrupt ones. Why I say that is because they should have done an HQS inspection on this apartment in 2024. When these people told them the renovation for this apartment will be completed August of 2024. That's when these people should have moved in and said, we're going to do an HQS inspection on the apartment. Bada bing, bada boom, 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 boom. They didn't do that. And the minute they saw me signing the lease, because these people, they pressured me, they forced me into this apartment. They coerced me, they bullied, everything that you can think of, these two, bullied and harassed me as far as me and Jacob, as far as moving into this apartment. Because the fact that this apartment has been vacant since 2019, they weren't getting any subsidy for it. Yes, it was vacant. There's been no occupancy in this apartment since 2019 going forward, it was just me. And they needed a body in here. Because once they get a body in these empty apartments, that's when they start to get subsidy. So they were upset that they weren't getting subsidy from them. And they accused me of not allowing them access so that they can get their subsidy. But even though I allowed them access repeatedly, allowed them access repeatedly, they still wasn't giving them their subsidy. So I'm going to assume these guys said, you are holding our money back. It's your fault that you didn't tell or you didn't order your HQS inspector people to come out and inspect that apartment before that lady moved in here. Because if you would have done that, then the HQS inspector would have seen all of this. And they would have said, we cannot bring this lady in this apartment until this is fixed. And I would have been over at my old apartment, sitting over there, whatever the case may be, and just hanging out until this is fixed. And after this is fixed, then they would have said to me, oh, Miss Collins, the apartment is ready. It passed HQS inspection. They did whatever they needed to do, whatever. You can do the walkthrough. Come and take a look at it. It's finished. Here's a report that shows that there was an HQS inspection. Boom, boom, boom. There's no other report prior to this date as far as HQS. Okay? There's none. Which means they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball on me. And they dropped the ball on them. Okay? And that's why they forced this fucking character to come in here and pass. Because if this apartment remained in failing status, that would mean these people would not get a subsidy for November. Because they didn't get one from October, if I stand to be corrected. They wouldn't get a subsidy for November. So they told this person to come in and they told him, pass that apartment by any means necessary. Just pass it. And that's what he did on this date. Right there. Corrupt. Following all of that, these guys started putting stuff like this in everybody's mailbox. Except for this building. Or except for my mailbox. It said from residents, that's the beginning of the block. And that is the last building of this street here. Per them. This address is the beginning. And this address is the end. Okay? And we're in the middle here. They didn't put this. They didn't put this in my mailbox. Nope, nope, nope. Nope. No, they did not. Yeah. Why would, if this is a brand new renovated development, why would this be necessary? That doesn't even make sense. Right? Okay. So, I'm going to wash my hands. So this is why I'm angry. I'm angry because they set my son off for no reason. They harassed, bullied, threatened, did everything to me and my son, even my oldest son, military. For what? This is how you treat people? This is how you treat people who pay their rent on time. And not only do I pay my rent on time, I overpay. And quite frankly, I shouldn't be paying you anything. Nothing. You should be giving me a rent abatement. As a matter of fact, for October, this month, you need to give me back my money. Give me back my motherfucking money. That's what you need to do. And as far as all of this moving expenses, You agreed to pay for it. It's documented that you agreed to pay for it. Yeah. Oh, Miss Collins has to give us the documents or whatever receipts, whatever, and we'll pay for it. Okay, well, I got some receipts to give you. Yeah. So, yeah, you're gonna get that. You've never heard Jacob. My stomach. You've never heard him. You angered my son. No one's ever heard my son. No one. You can ask any single individual from the beginning of the development that we lived at, the old development, the middle development, the last. You could ask every senior level Nycha staff who met my son, and they will tell you he's very quiet. He's quiet. You don't. You never hear him. You never seen him in the management office. You've never seen my son in that management office. Even before the conversion. No. Okay. Now you got me. Now you got this goat. This goat is up. This sleeping lion is awoke. She's up. She's up. Don't watch the gray hairs. You already know. Don't look at the gray hairs. Don't look at the gray hairs. Okay.